So here I was um, at the door of step 7, and step 7 itself is humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. So here it's gone from defects to shortcomings. It's because defects first, it's like finding out you're selfish. You think, oh, no, I'm not selfish. And then gradually seeing you being able to hold the defect, you know, is kind of like you're realizing that it's a shortcoming. You're realizing that all of this is coming from a space of fear, or it's deep rooted. Mine was deep rooted, my defects, and plus with the sense of how I looked at the world and how I operated at that time. I mean, I'd walk over to the dealer's house from my house, and I would put my head down the whole way. And because I didn't look at anybody, didn't see anybody, I believe in they didn't see me going in and out. Do you understand what I mean? Or they wouldn't. I dreaded anyone calling me or stopping me. So, it's just a total shift, a total turnaround from having, when I come out of step 6, the feeling of the most important thing I got from that step 6 was the feeling of being human. I'm just the same as everybody else. Yes, there's times that I have what you call it. Um, I have things I don't like. I've got a shadow. I've got that part of me as well. And I think with step 6, as with each step, it opens you a bit more. It opens you to seeing yourself, claiming yourself a bit more, and coming back inside. Because I was so dissociated um, in my thinking, in my way, I knew the same way by the time I got to my defects. I knew when I finally owned them and I finally seen them in my step 4, I knew the truth. I seen them as I was living in this day, the very day that I was in, and I still said to myself, right, I have some of these defects are so ingrained in me. They happen before I even have a chance to make a choice about them, you know. Again, like I'm saying, it felt like the same circuit of the addiction, the same kind of mentality that I had with the defects, and coming into place. But I come out of there feeling human. But I also come out of there feeling I know now that my actions have consequences onto somebody else. It's not about, oh, I done this because they done that. I done this, well, yeah, but he done that. It's excluding the he. It's putting me fully in the picture of my own life. It's standing me full on my own ground as a human being with as much, good and bad inside of me. And because I did claim them assets as well, and I didn't let them go because I needed them. I needed them to hold me in step 6. While I'm looking at the bad, I held on to the good as well. But the bad, and I could see I got a kind of like a deeper understanding, more of a humble, as a public understanding of, where this behavior came from, where this where all this, a lot of times, a lot of my big emotions or my anxiety or my fear or, especially fear, um, would drive a lot of these impulsive defects, into action straight away without me controlling it. So it felt very similar to being in an addiction that I can't get out of it, even though I can't. I'm going to stop. I'm going to tell myself, right, stop being selfish. Think of this. You're being selfish at the moment, or whatever. It's. I couldn't get myself out of it. I'd go back and do the same thing again. I was still meeting people and seeing only half of them, seeing a part, pick up something I hear in a meeting. I think I like that person. But the reality was, I like that person because I felt that she won't hurt me or he won't hurt me because they're like me. And the reality was, I was hurt. I had another way of triggering things in them that was hurting them, but I couldn't. The, 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 the awakeness of my consciousness was just opening. It was opening. It wasn't. It wasn't closed anymore. I, 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 I was given the gift of the willingness. I was, that willingness of the open-mindedness to do the steps and to keep going and to go from one level to the next and stay in the step until it felt to me that, okay, when I went into step 6 and I came out of step 6, I had a wider, a more mature, a more um, balanced view of how I can act in some situations. And I also knew that I had some deep implanted ones that I couldn't remove. There's no way that I couldn't remove my addiction. I knew that was lifted from me by a higher source. And I knew that right now, here in step 7, I need help from a power greater than me, right? I need that. So that was when you know something, it's a different humble. It's not a humble coming from please, please, please. It's a humble coming from acceptance acceptance of this is a part of me. This is a part of me that I have no, I can't, stop doing. It's automatic within me. Um, so a lot of the shortcomings and defects, I knew that I couldn't remove myself. I knew that, literally knew that. So by saying that, by actually getting into my own body, by breathing in down into my own heart, by just taking a deep breath in and the out breath, I stayed in my heart. Felt like I was looking out of my heart, and I humbly asked, I said, please take this, remove these shortcomings from me, remove them from me. They're not only causing harm to others, they're also causing harm to me. So, that was in my step 7. But step 7 is not like, then I've done that prayer and I reached that moment and I felt it in my heart and I owned my shadow, that what you call it, that it was over. No, 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 no. I had to slowly but surely, I had to watch my own self throughout the days after doing the step 7, was watching my behavior, and anytime I caught myself in an act of impulsiveness or selfishness or judging somebody or whatever defects that was in play at that moment, I would then at that time bring in it again and pray, please take this shortcoming from me. I had to come actively aware in it. It wasn't just a one thing. I had to, during my following days of the step 7, it was focusing on my behavior and seeing myself, having the awareness of seeing the defects still there and asking again, and then maybe in a half an hour, I do exactly the same thing. But that's what I had to do because it also gave me a feeling and knowing that, the spiritual help, I knew that I couldn't have come out of addiction. I tried every angle to come out of addiction. I tried every kind of rehab, detox, or pills, this, that, the other. I tried every angle to get out from underneath it, and I could not do it. I knew that something, I thought at the time, something magical, something spiritual, something outside of myself, a good source, is helping me. And under that belief and going through the steps and finding more of myself, I was finding more of this higher power that was within me, as within others, as within, tree, as within everything, all, yeah. So what I'm saying was, it took a while, and I could still get to speak. A lot of my well, not a lot actually, some of my defects have been lifted, yeah. Um, some that I don't seem to, you know, have the first reaction of doing that, or having the first reaction to jump at something, you know, impulsively. A lot of my defects have kind of like gone back to kind of like normal levels, so where I have a choice to actually keep going in this impulsive action, or do I actually want to stop? No, I've got a pause button now. I never had a pause button before, and that's what was placed into me on the step 7, was a pause button in the middle of my action. I could pause. There was other things that still, even today, I can do, and I can know that this is still deep rooted. You know, the you know, it's there's still deep rooted defects within myself. There's like good and bad, but it's with step 7. As long as you keep doing it, then what happens and what seems to, you know, as long as you keep working it as you're living step 7, um, that by taking that moment to say, look, I'm all over the place here. I'm too much. I'm too anxiety. I'm too high. I'm too whatever it is you need help with. Um, help me. You know. So as long as you're going on and like that, you kind of like you see more and more. You come to the thing of you know, it's kind of like I don't know. I'm trying to find a sentence to kind of like just sum it up for you. Um, Apart from being human, knowing the good and bad parts of myself, it was like step 7 gave me a kind of a feeling that I could still hold both of them within me, but with love, not fighting it. For before I deny it or I fight it or the defect would be impulsive and it would overflow. That's the good side of me, or you know, it was all of that. Step 7 seemed to give me as I was going along, humbly, you know, asking to remove my shortcomings. As I was going along and actively doing that, it was giving me that sense of, um, you know, that sense that I was carrying the good and the bad with love, not with acceptance that I have both within me, you know. Uh, I can behave in this way or I can behave in that way, you know, as anybody else can. So again, bringing back to where this was, step 7, um, humbly ask him, and he will remove the shortcoming.